Good afternoon, everyone. I am Dr. Sharon Jenkins, if I could have everyone's attention up this way. I'm the library director as of June, and I am presiding this afternoon over our official banned book readout. So we have had folks from on campus sign up, and we will go in this order. I'll call your name, and you come up and read your 5 minutes or less excerpt from a banned or challenged work. And that should be the end of our presentation today. We have a guest reader today, and that person will be introduced by Alan Shanger, who is a member of the Alamogordo Public Library Friends Group. So since we really don't have a lot of time today, let's get moving. And after our first anonymous reader finishes, then I will call up our first on-campus reader, Wanda. So let's come on out.
Okay, thank you. We always try to line up a local author to be our celebrity reader to kick this off. And this year we have a celebrity who wishes to remain anonymous for reasons that will become obvious as he reads. John Doe majored in biology in college and graduate school, served as a Peace Corps volunteer in Nepal, taught high school science and social studies in Laos, and college biology in Chicago. In 1968, he joined the Foreign Service and served with the Department of State in Nepal, Laos, Lebanon, Zaire, India, and Sri Lanka. Since 1999, John Doe has had a number of stories and poems published in literary magazines and websites. He's published 2 books of poetry. In 2008, he published a book of short stories titled Even Gods Walk in Shadows. In Alamogordo, Las Cruces, and El Paso, he has enjoyed participating in reading groups, serving as a judge in slam and jam poetry events. With earlier roots in Santa Fe, New Mexico, he and his Indian-born wife, Jane Doe, now lives in Mexico. Please welcome John Doe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Alan, and for not mentioning my name as requested. However, today, on this banned books event, after some years of self-imposed obscurity, I'm happy to say openly and fearlessly, as in contemporary TV ads, my name is Robert Proctor. And I wrote and endorsed the following story. The consequences be damned. The story is based on a dream, a small nightmare actually, that I had several years ago. It is entitled Much Hated Book Banned in Alamogordo. Like a nasty scream from a newspaper headline. My name is John Doe and I live in Alamogordo. I haven't used my real name in public for so long, I'm afraid of getting in trouble. Getting my face punched in, to be precise. 10 years ago, I wrote a book of poetry and I irritated a lot of people in this city. It included a poem entitled Faces That Foul Alamogordo. It was a jaundiced, snarky, sarcastic, but yet tongue-in-cheek dump on a place I really cared for. I read it at a gathering of writers and other citizens at the Alamogordo Public Library. Most people in the audience understood me, and my dismay about a number of unsavory things I believe had gone wrong in the city. But not everyone was happy. Their angry stares intimidated me. They hated the poem for what it criticized, because they liked the arrogant sign at the entrance of the city that proclaimed, Jesus is Lord over Alamogordo. They liked to vent anger at the presence of pro-gay pride announcements in the library. Tear them down, they demanded. They liked having considerable success in squashing the impact of money and abuse scandals in one of Alamo's most prestigious schools. They liked to condemn the hundreds of protesters who rallied against the book burnings by a local church pastor and congregation. So scared were they of Harry Potter and William Shakespeare. They liked the reports of big drug busts, while at the same time pretending that the city did not really have the drug problem. They liked the coming of a Walmart megastore while totally ignoring the homeless, hapless panhandlers near the entrance. This while little stores had to close in other parts of the city. My poem ended with these questions, these cries from the heart. Is Alamogordo now growing a wart for its own heart? Does pride in a greeny golf course define the soul of Alamogordo? Do mega stores, drug busts, scandal suppressions, and traffic jam streets define yet more of the soul of Alamogordo? Should a new entrance sign to the city read, like Dante's warning to those about to enter hell, abandon hope, all ye who enter here? They hated to hear that. As I turned to leave, like a bad dream turned even worse, I suddenly found myself face to face with one of the angry faces I'd seen in the audience. He looked vaguely familiar. Was he a city councilman, a county commissioner, a college professor or a regent, a prominent clergyman, a chamber of commerce bigwig? In any event, he grabbed me by the front of my shirt and spittled in my face as he hissed with blazing fire in his eyes, "Do not, I repeat, do not even think of trying to place your book in a library or store in this town." Needless to say, I didn't try to place my book anywhere in Alamogordo. In effect, I helped to ban my own book. Would you have done differently?
Thank you, Mr. Proctor, for coming out of the closet. At last, of course. Okay, Wanda, books are banned for a whole lot of reasons, and some of them are completely obscure. We don't have any idea. I'm going to be reading from Bless Me Ultima.
All right, look at this good turnout, especially some of my students. Yes, woo! Okay. The book I'm reading from, Bless Me Ultima, is one of my favorites, and it's one that I think everyone who even visits New Mexico should read. If you live here, you really need to read it. It has a wonderful history of an important part of New Mexico, the Eastern Plains, which is called the Llano, L-L-A-N-O, and the story of Antonio, who is in the book with his grandmother, Ultima, who is a curandera, a person who heals through use of herbs and magic. And I suspect this is probably why the book was banned. It was written in 1972 by Rodolfo Adolfo, and I'm not right, let me say it right. Rodolfo Anaya, I'm sorry, and it has become very well known throughout the world, actually. So the piece I'm going to read happens as Antonio has just graduated from first grade. He entered first grade not knowing any English, and he's done so well that he's progressing to third grade. And he's gone to the river to celebrate by fishing with a friend. And we assume that the river probably is the Pecos. And he begins. The setting sun glistened on the brown waters of the river and turned them to bronze. It is a sin to catch them, Samuel said. It is a worse offense to eat them. They are a part of the people. He pointed toward the middle of the river where two huge back fins rose out of the water and splashed upstream. And if you eat one, I whispered, you might be punished like they were punished. I don't know, Samuel said. He rose and took my fishing line. Is that all the story, I asked? He divided the catfish we had caught and gave me my share on a small string. No, there's more, he said. He glanced around to make sure we were alone. Do you know about the golden carp? He asked in a whisper. No, I shook my head. When the gods had turned the people into carp, the one kind God who loved the new people grew very sad. The river was full of dangers to the new fish, so he went to the other gods and told them that he chose to be turned into a carp and swim in the river where he could take care of his people. The gods agreed. But because he was a god, they made him a very big carp and colored him the color of gold. And they made him the lord of all the waters of the valley. The golden carp, I said to myself, a new god? I could not believe this strange story, and yet I could not disbelieve Samuel. Is the golden carp still here? Yes, Samuel answered. His voice was strong with faith. It made me shiver, not because it was cold, but because the roots of everything I had ever believed in seemed shaken. If the golden carp was a god, who was the man on the cross? The virgin. Was my mother praying to the wrong God? Where, I wanted to know. It is very late, Samuel said. You have learned a lot today. This summer, Siko and I will find you and take you to the golden carp. And with a swish of branches, he disappeared into the dusk. Samuel, I called. Only silence. I had heard Siko's name mentioned before. He was a town boy, but he didn't hang out with them. They said he spent all his time along the river, fishing. I turned homeward in the gathering dusk, full of wonder at the strange story Samuel had told me. Tony, someone called. I broke into a run and didn't stop until I got home. When I got home, my mother was very angry with me. I had never been late before. Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe, I have been crazy with worry about you, she cried. I showed her my promotion and her feelings changed quickly. Grande, Deborah, Teresa, come quick. Tony has been promoted 2 grades. Oh, I knew he would be a man of learning, maybe a priest. She crossed herself and sobbed as she held me tightly. Ultima was very happy also. This one learns as much in one day as most do in a year, she smiled. I wondered if she knew about the golden carp. We must pray to the Virgin, my mother said. And although Deborah objected, saying nobody prayed for a grade promotion, my mother gathered us around the Virgin's altar. My father arrived home late from work and was hungry. We were still praying and supper was late. He was angry. Thank you.